fishing. We have a very next agenda item is a very controversial issue. Commission General Regulation fishing seasons and bag limits. Could be more non-controversial. 11 and 12, Chief of Fisheries Mark Warren for possible action. The Commission will establish fishing seasons, bag, and possession limits for the period of March 1, 2012 to February 28, 2014. Mr. Warren, go ahead.
Okay. Chairman McBeth and fellow commissioners, for the record, Mark Warren, Chief of Fisheries. Does any one of you commissioners not have a copy of these in your to go through? I have a couple extra. So. Anybody need one? Okay. I thought it was all right if you would just go through and talk about them, and then we could talk about the Truckee River at the end, the Creek Fish. Yeah, I woke up last night at 2 in the morning thinking about Truckee River limits. And I went, oh my God, there's got to be something else to think about at 2 in the morning besides that. But I did manage to go back to sleep. Most of our changes this year are small ones, either cleaning up the regs or just small limit changes. What I'm going to do is just read through, starting with Douglas County. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And I guess at the end, Chairman, I've got to open it up to the public. Yeah. So, but if the commissioners have any questions, let me know. So the first one is Douglas County, Mitch Park and Lampe Park. Mitch Park is a new facility being built with question 1 mining should be open this fall. And we try to keep all our urban ponds as a 3 game fish limit in order to spread out the catch over time. Give everybody a chance to catch a fish or two. Humboldt County, for like Truckee, I mentioned yesterday the limit dropped from 10 down to 5 years ago. Again, we're going to reduce the limit for the countywide from 10 trout down to 5 trout, just as a way with an increased population and no increase in our hatchery production, a way for those fish that we stock to get spread out over time. So they can only harvest 5 fish at a time instead of 10 as a reduction. The next one in Humboldt County is Adorno, Coleman, and North Fork of Battle Creek. We have an ongoing program to reestablish the hunt cutthroat trout in the state. It's a threatened species. We are actively pursuing that. These 3 creeks were chemically treated some time ago and reintroduced with cutthroat. They were closed at the time in order to give the trout a chance to repopulate the stream. We feel that the stream can sustain fishing now, so we'd like to put them back as open waters and take them out of the closed waters. Bell Creek, a little reservoir up there north of Winnemucca. A couple years ago, we stocked it with largemouth bass. We stock it annually with trout also. And before the regulation we had 5 trout, and now we just like to have it breed 5 game fish, so they can either compose that limit of largemouth bass or trout, whatever they like. But the limit still 5 is just a combination of the species. Chimney Reservoir, also in Humboldt County. Last year we had a quite extensive program to go there and chemically eradicate the reservoir at a giant population of carp. As the reservoir fills up, we have stocked it with wipers, which is a cross between a white bass and a striped bass. Hopefully that's enough that they will keep the carp under check, or at least reduce their numbers for a while, and provide the angler with something that's sustainable. Presently, the state record, viper is from 125 pounds as opposed to a world record, which is 26 pounds. So they're nice fish. If you've ever caught them, they're great fighting fish. We've also reduced the limit on trout to 5 to keep up with the limits for Humboldt County. Again, with the closed waters, moving them to open waters. There's 3 other creeks, Lion Canyon, Riser, rodeo, sage, and washburn. And again, we feel that they're able to sustain fishing pressure after being chemically treated, reintroduced to cutthroat. The numbers are up, so I'd like to open them up to fishing. Moving over to Lander County, there's a little reservoir there that's always in the limelight with us. Smith Creek Reservoir, partly on BLM land, partly on private. That's where the Robb comes. A couple years ago, we went in at the request of the owner of the section that's on private land and reduced the limit to 1 trout. At the time, we included the intake, the inlet stream and the outlet stream, and we've gotten several complaints from residents of Fallon that fished that stream and wanted to have a regular limit on that stream. So we propose to remove the inlet and outlet from the 1 trout limit, just make it general limit for Lander County. Lyon County, there's a cooling pond down there, Fort Church Cooling Pond, and they've kind of changed the way they do business and release water into the pond. And so we're going to attempt to put some trout in the spring. We feel that the water temperature would warrant that and provide some fishing. Not trying to be funny, but we have such limited water in Nevada that any place that has any water for any length of time, we go off and throw fish in. So this would be an opportunity for some people to catch some trout. We just catch free trout in the springtime. Lyon County, we proposed this regulation on Daisy Reservoir down at First Wildlife Management Area, and I met with the biologist and the regional supervisor down there. Daisy, several years ago, we went to a 1 trout limit in order to try to create a trophy trout fishery. Mark Flexstrand, the biologist, expressed interest in making. He had talked to several anglers, and they wanted to make maybe a trophy bass fishery. So I thought, well, we'll just put in a regulation and limit the take of largemouth between 11 and 14 inches. That way, it would be a larger size of black bass. Sometimes we enact laws, and then later on we find out, well, maybe they didn't work or they caused a lot of controversy. So in the last week or two, I've gotten a lot of feedback from our law enforcement section, and they said, what are you trying to do here, Mark? Because for the rest of the reservoirs, the other 3 reservoirs of perch, you cannot keep a fish under 10 inches. So even though we were trying to promote reduced catch or to get a larger product on largemouth bass, the part that you don't read into that is that they can't keep fish below 11 inches. So, you check somebody out there and they have a bunch of 9-inch bass, which are illegal at the other 3 reservoirs, but legal there. So it would be a law enforcement nightmare. So what we're asking the commission to do, I've met with Rich about it also, is to scrub this regulation and actually just it would stay the way it was. And we'd go back and try to create something that's a little bit more doable with the law enforcement and enforcement of the public. We don't want to make things so, believe it or not, so difficult. So actually, this one would be
the entire Daisy Reservoir.
It'd be just to go back the way it was. That's what we're asking. So we had good intentions, but we can see that law enforcement wants to be really hard to enforce, and we don't want to. We want to work together with our law enforcement branch, and we'll try to recreate it for next time. Down at Beatty, we just opened up a new beautiful pond just outside of town. It should leave the town, so when we open up a new fishery, if it doesn't have a regulation established, it goes back to the county regulation, which is very lucrative. So we just propose to make that a 3 game fish limit, be in conjunction with the other urban ponds. Hay Meadow, in the same area as perch. It's just a name change that had a hyphen in the regulations, and we just want to remove that hyphen. Pershing County is right next to Humboldt County, as we all know, and we propose to reduce the trout limit for the countywide. It doesn't have many waters. It does have part of Rye Patch and then some streams, but just in order to allow those fish to be in the environment a little longer and give anglers a longer time to catch them, reduce it from 10 fish, 10 trout down to 5 trout. I believe the warm water catch is the same. Washoe County, for years, we've had 5 Mile Reservoir as a closed water in Washoe County, and it's actually in Story County, so we're just trying to clean that up. And the Washoe County urban ponds leave the limit at 3 fish. Some of them now have a variety of warm water fish and just make it 3 king fish, so the angler has a choice of for his limit of 3 fish, to make trout or bass or crappie, as there is in some of those sports. And we also plant some catfish. That's it for those. On the Truckee River, I think Aaron's not here today, but just as a personal note, I know him personally, and he's a fly fisherman, works at the fly shop, and that's, for me personally, not as the chief, I'm a fly fisherman, so, you know, I mean, my dream should be to make the Truckee River 1 fish limit, you know, catch release. Of course, as the chief of game, chief of fisheries, I get hunt, and we have to appeal to a broad variety of anglers that some of them like to keep fish, some of them use bait, and we embrace them all. So, I looked up our angler questionnaire data for the Truckee River. For last year, we sent out these questionnaires, 10% for the state, showed that there was 99,000 anglers roughly that fished the Truckee River last year, and the catch rate was 2.06 fish per angler day, so that was an average, which was under the 3 fish limit. Against moving it to a 3 fish limit would be the public. They have a perception of giving them less. Yes, the Truckee River limit is 5. The urban ponds are all 3, but you know, as a thinking adult, we're going to ask them to know the difference between a river and a pond. So, what actually most of them do is go out and catch. You know, the 3 fish have wells in common, put them in the refrigerator, go back to the Truckee and catch the other 5. But that's just something. Anyway, we don't want to always give the impression, and we do that, of giving them less for their dollar. We feel it needs further thought. This was one person that brought it up, and I think eventually the Truckee River limit will probably go to 3. But it hasn't gone through the county game board. We haven't considered it, you know, the biologists and the general public. So we try not to, hopefully we don't take one person's suggestion and just appropriate it. As far as the department goes, we stock, give or take, an inch, 60,000 fish in the Truckee River. And the Nevada section, most of them are put between the California state line and McCarran. That's a lot of fish in a 20-mile section, so we put them there for people to harvest. We put them there for them to take home. That's our main goal. We stock a little bit below Reno, and we've had a great water year. The flows in the Truckee River even now are like 500, 600 CFS. But when it does get low with the drought year, the flow drops to 200 CFS or less in the summer. The trout die below McCarran Bridge. The water gets above 80 degrees, it just gets too warm for them. And so we hope that those fish that we paid $1 each for get harvested by the public prior to them getting whacked with environmental conditions. So I would not support it at this time, personally. For the farm.
Commissioner Drew?
Mark, just one quick question and then a quick statement. In terms
Sure.
of the Beatty Urban Pond, do you have any hour of day or night was? Is that not consistent with park hours like some of the other urban ponds?
Chairman Drew, I think it's not a park. I think it's just kind of owned by the city. Does it say park?
No, it just says Beatty Urban Pond.
Yeah. It's kind of this pond that's just outside of town on the right, and I think the city owns it. And so we could put some stipulation, sunrise to sunset.
Just a curiosity, and then my statement, I was able to attend a couple of CAB meetings, and Kim Tisdale was there. I just wanted to compliment you and your staff and her in terms of putting the time and effort into these rigs and making an effort to be at those CAB meetings.
Okay, thank you. There's a cute picture on the cover of a tiger trout from Mount Brook Reservoir. That's a cross between a brook and a brown.
Commissioner Ray?
Thank you. A couple things. One, I previously mentioned to Mr. Warren about there's one fishery out in Eureka County in the Wisconsin Reservoir that has a new owner, which is a line out there, and they might be supportive of relaxing the regulation. Who knows?
Right.
Of course, that time it's only been happening. They might be supportive of relaxing the no bait regulation. You never know. And that was the consideration of previous owners.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I just, like you mentioned, I mean, anytime a huge corporation with the, takes over a deal like that, if you ever wanted to do something with that dam, which has had a lot of issues, half of it's on public, half of it's on private, you can always ask and they can always say no, but, they've got many billions of dollars of gold within relatively close proximity there too. So if you ever had a better time to ask, it doesn't exist.
Sure. I talked to you a little bit last night about this, and we'll let our supervisor in the Eastern region know, and you can contact them. And we've always had trouble with the dam. I think every dam in Nevada almost leaks. They're old and they cost a lot of money to fix. So if they could redo that, that would be great. And we could talk to them at that time about the rigs too.
Oh,
so
perfect. And also, one thing I'd like to see perhaps more of, not necessarily on the regulatory side, although actually on the regulatory side, the only thing I can say is, if there's not specific leaks that have to be crossings, any way to make them, that you guys never come up with, to make them more uniform. I know that's happened over here the last year. We've done some on that, but more on that, just for consistency's purpose. Every river and every stream are close to the same. It makes it a lot easier for people. I always do my unofficial inventory when I'm out talking to people, and I was fishing, what's the thing? Gosh, if I was a game warden, I'd give out a ticket. Yeah, I'd be happy because people are just, I get a lot of that. Oh, I didn't know because it's not the same as the others, and it's always the little regulations that slip by. Well, isn't it the same as the one I was just fishing that's right next door? So if you can find your way, I know you've worked on it some in the past, and some's been good. We appreciate that. Also, signage at locations, especially discussing the undesirable species, requesting fishermen not release undesirable species back into the water. And a lot of people there, releasing the chubs when they're not supposed to, that type of thing. And there are some signs, but a lot of them, they don't say why. It might really help. At least there's a huge number of those fish get released, but the department really, at some point might end up spending huge sums of money to remove. So.
Yeah, you're talking about fish that are in the reservoir and they catch them and then put them back?
Correct.
Okay.
That are undesirable.
Uh-huh.
Undesirable species, whether it's a chub or whether it's the pike or whether, in some places, like the pike example, there's really good signage. And if that type of signage was in other places where there's maybe not as bad a fish as pike, but other fish like the chubs or whatever the department doesn't want to see in there, it might be helpful just to those people, because a lot of them just don't, oh yeah, you can keep them if you want, but I don't want to eat these. Well, is there a reason to not throw them back? If there's a good reason, further signage might enhance that free removal of pest species.
Yeah, it's
tough. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, in some places, like we have a chub, which is a native minnow in the state of Nevada, and even though people don't usually eat them, I've seen a couple of people eat it, but usually they're kind of a nuisance, but they also provide forage for the game fish, like the wild horse in South Fork, they're providing food for the smallmouth, the largemouth, the stripers, not the stripers, but the wipers, and so we try to regulate the predators to the prey, something that we all talk about
If there's instances where you want them removed, and I know there's been a few talk to local biologists that ran into different places.
Sure.
There are instances, signage might be one. That's all I'm saying. Not that because there's so many waters, they got so many different
Sure, yeah, it's a lot of times like carp in the hunt, and there are people that do like to take carp on me, but for the most part, they are nuisance fish. But that's something we'll look into, sure. Then the second thing was, we had talked on, we had signage, and then talked about.
Oh, you're just talking about the dam out there. It's had some major issues. I know it's had major issues. And I don't know exactly where the money's come from to replace it, but I know it's been on the public land side where the departments forked that over, or what state agencies have forked over money, but it's been continual drain from
Yes.
somebody's coffers over time.
Yeah, it's usually us or, one of our,
Yeah.
like Q1 or something. And it's expensive. Dams
Might
for
be
several
around
$1 million. So yeah, that would be something to look into.
Commissioner Drew?
Since we're in Washoe County, Mark, and since the dam issue has been raised, is there any discussion or movement with the Forest Service in regards to anything on Incline Lake? Have you heard anything?
We support, of course, like I said, there's so few fisheries in Nevada that there's a chance to have another one. We go, yeah, let's have another fishery. There's a big movement up in Tahoe by the people that live there to let it go back as a meadow, as a natural state. Of course, there's a big push by us that they have money that they've set aside to create a dam, and so it's something that hasn't been resolved as yet. But we strongly support a dam, even if we had to do something like just catch release native cutthroat. At least there'd be a fishery. So that would be good for the commission to get behind once it came to fruition that they want to actually do something. But yeah, we support the lake. It's just kind of waiting on it.
Okay. Commissioner Howell?
Mark, the walleyes in Humboldt County, how big do they get?
They used to have like a contest, not a rip one, but or an official one, but like they go back and forth between Rye Patch and Lahonk. I mean, one year it would be 14.9, and then Rye Patch would have one that's 15.1, and then Lahonk would catch one that's 15.2. So it was kind of a back and forth, like two schools competing. So
I don't see any minimums for the catch, so like in perch, it's all 10-inch minimum.
yeah, I should have brought the regulations with me, and that was my fault, but I can't remember if we did. Isn't there a 5-fish limit on it?
There's a 5-fish limit, but it doesn't say the minimum length.
Yeah, I think we just let them catch, whatever they want.
Okay.
For up to 5 inches. Yeah, and it doesn't have a limit.
And did I hear you correctly that the proposed changed regulation at Daisy was, you forgot you're going to eliminate that proposed change?
Yeah, we had proposed a black bass limit of, it's unlawful to possess black bass, a large amount, between 11 and 14 inches. That's what we proposed, so that they would have a larger fish there, but then we realized they could keep fish under 11, which ended up, after talking to the law enforcement personnel from Ely and from here, that it would kind of be a nightmare and hard for them to enforce, like the campground, where to get these fish.
Yeah.
Since the other 3 reservoirs, you can't possess large amount under 10 inches.
Right.
So, not willing to go there, we just decided to scrap it for right now and try to come up with some better wording for next time.
The other question I had was about the trout that you plant in Truckee. How big are they when you plant them?
They're about 9 inches. They fluctuate between 8 and 10. They're about a year old.
They're hatchery raised, so
They're
they're
hatchery
all
raised,
white, all white meat. And people start fishing for them right away.
Yes, I was talking to some gentleman yesterday, and when I was a field biologist, I actually had people cast across my head as I was unloading the fish into the river. I had one lady ask me if it was all right if she put her net under the back of the truck and catch the fish, and I said, no, you have to wait till they're in the water first. So, yeah, people are there. They get on their cell phones and they have the hotline, and we'll plan at Mayberry, and that weekend there'll be 50 anglers out there.
How long does it usually take, if any of them survive, to get red meat?
It takes a while. A lot of that depends on their diet. We were actually experimenting with some feed that was different, that actually gave them red meat, you know, from the hatchery.
Oh, yeah?
But traditionally it's white, and then they start eating invertebrates and little shrimp and whatnot, and it turns pink. So it takes, I don't know, but my guess would be, you know, within a couple of weeks, it probably start to change. But yeah, there's a lot of people that get after them right away. In the old days, when I first started, it was a big secret where we stocked fish. So, you know, it was, you'd tell your cousin or something, and you'd feel bad because you violated some rule, and we wouldn't tell anybody. And then pretty soon we said, well, you know, what are we doing here? We're trying to get people out to fish, so we started telling them. Then, presently, we publish it on our website, so when the fish truck goes out, it calls up, and the webmaster puts it on, so Friday you get to see where the fish were stocked, you know. We went one step further in Las Vegas and started telling them when the fish were going to be stocked. And then people would call up and say, you know, it's Thursday the 15th, when the heck aren't you here? I've been waiting for 2 hours, where's the fish truck? And we'd have to explain that, you know, had a flat tire, the guy had the flu, and that we'd be there tomorrow. So we stopped with the future thing and just said sometime during the month we're going to stock that instead of giving them the exact dates.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, take it out the public and cab comments, so anybody in the public, anybody in the cab have any comment on fishing regulations? Rex, come on, you're first, then Tom.
Rex Flowers, Washington County Cap. Washington County voted to support this, except that we'd like a clarification on hours the park is open. We have one park in Washington County, Rancho San Rafael. It's closed to vehicle traffic, I believe after 5 visits, Rick, but it's open to foot traffic. And so that park considered to be open or closed.
Brent, before you leave, I have a question for you.
Kim Tisdale, our Western Region Fisheries Supervisor, brought that up. She had been at the county game board, and it's something we're going to have to look into. What we tried to do is, you know, in some parks, if whatever they close, you know, that's the time that it's actually closed to fishing, and it can change from season to season, and so that there would be anglers in there after the park's closed. But in some parks, it is a problem. I think with Sparks Marina, you know, there's people walking out there at midnight, so they don't enforce their own rules in that the park is closed. They don't prevent people from coming in there. So then the question is, can the anglers go in there too? So it's something we're going to have to kind of look into. Because if, you know, if it is open and there's other people, then it's only fair that the anglers can be in there too.
Why do we even have that in a regulation? If the park's open, people, general public can go in there and fish. I mean,
Yeah, if we
remove that entirely, and then there's no confusion on this.
We could. It's just that we try to work with park people, and if it was, you know, 24 hours and somebody's in there, and then they try to get run off, and they can say, well, here's the regulations, and it says, you know, open 24 hours. And so I have a right to be here. And they said, well, you don't, because the city of Sparks says you don't. And then, you know, so we just try to get along.
Just a quick question, Rex. I'm assuming you guys didn't discuss the Truckee River limit?
Mr. Elmer did not come to our meeting, so no, we didn't.
Okay.
We did hear that comment was brought up by one of our own advisory board members a few years ago, that he found that to be inconsistent, that, you know, you fish in a pond, catch 3 fish, but then you flop right over the bank into the river and catch 5, but was not brought up this year.
Tom first. Paul.
For the record, Tom Cassione with Humboldt County. Again, I apologize for not having this information. A lot of changes in Humboldt County, but we did vote to support the department's recommendations. I do personally have some concerns when we change these smaller streams from 5 to 10. There's going to be quite a few people out there for a year or two that are going to be catching 10 fish. I don't know how we're going to handle that issue. That's an issue that's going to come because they've been doing it forever. they're just gonna go out and take them and catch 10 fish, and that's one concern. We did vote to go with the government's recommendation on all that changes. Thank you.
Thanks.
Concerning that, we have our contact chief here, Teresa, and I'm sure between the two of us, we can come up with some kind of an announcement, prior to the fishing season. These regs don't go into effect whatever you vote in today till March, and so for next year, we can send something to the paper that says, regulations have been changed, and it's been changed from 10 to 5. We'll do that.
Paul Harris, Clark County CAB. We did also vote to approve these as written. I did want to comment on one thing in regards to Basie Reservoir and the regulation with the one trout limit. That is actually a regulation change that I was very active in. I brought that to the Clark County CAB. That was after multiple fly fishing came in, and also fly fishing. I had met with the Las Vegas Fly Fishing Club. They had tried unsuccessfully several times to get some type of, they wanted actually a kind of more radical change where it was fly fishing only, barbless. I actually met with, spoke with Dana, who was running that unit at the time, and I also spoke with Mark, and we came to some middle ground, and we got the one trout limit, and we very much appreciate it. I had a lot of positive comments back from Clark County residents. As a rule, the Clark County CAB just tries not to go into another county, Nye County, and make regulation changes or propose those, but we have a tremendous amount of fly fishing. That's actually the closest place to Clark County that a fly fisherman can go and get quality fishing. There's a lot of fly fishermen that go up there. Las Vegas Woods and Waters Club has a tournament up every year. So we appreciate Mark's working with Mark, and we very much support the one trout limit, and we would very much support, as long as Clark County doesn't, or Nye County CAB doesn't have any objection to it, some type of minimum 14-inch trophy for black bass as well. If we did that in next year's regulation, I'm sure the fly fishermen and fishing in Clark County would support that. Thank you very much.
Nye County's a big county, so I'm sure they don't care that Clark County has a little interest in that corner.
It's spoken like a true guy from Vegas.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Former Nye County guy. Well, Walt Mandeville from Lyon County Board, and we discussed these regulations the other night, and we're in agreement with all except for one issue, and that's the season at the Eastside Waterfowl Series. It opens, it's recommended, it's been open like August 20, somewhere around in there, I can't remember the exact date. But that, it originally was set late like that, late opening. It allows about a month of fishing to protect the waterfowl resource. But the majority of the waterfowl are already hatched and reared by late June, early July. And we felt that it would be nice to have that season moved up to July 15 to allow a good summertime fishing, because the other problem with those ponds is they get pretty weedy as the summer progresses, and it's almost impossible to fish in those real heavy weeds. And there's some excellent fishing opportunities out there for grandpas and grandkids, anybody else that might be interested at that time of the year. So that would be our recommendation to go. Thanks.
Again, this is something that just kind of popped up. As the chief of fisheries, of course, we try to support fishing and make it very lucrative for people to go out. I would have to get with the people that run Mesa Valley and talk to them, plus our game division, and see what they think about it.
As well as the board.
As well as the board, and the game board, and
Okay.
everybody else.
Well, I think the purpose is that we get the input here, and then we go back next round. This is a 2-year set of regulations. Does that mean that we could come back next year and do it again and make another?
Well, yeah, it's normally done 2 years, but we do have changes sometimes that come up, that we feel we can't wait for 2 years for. It's possible to do
I
it.
guess if enough things get on the list, we'll have to think about it. You know, okay.
Yeah, isn't that right, Rich? That's right. They, in the old days, we had a game pilot that was working for us, Norm Shaky, and he wouldn't let us put fish anywhere because he's afraid that you know largemouth would eat the deck. So he's retired, and so we're kind of creeping in a little bit and taking over.
Okay, thanks. Any other cab or public input on fishing regulations? Okay, I'll bring it back. Any further commission comment with regard to fishing regulations? Okay, then how about a motion? Anybody?
I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to accept the department's recommendation in terms of fishing seasons CR 11 and 12, with the exception of the change for Basie Reservoir in Nye County.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any further comment from the commissioners on the motion? Seeing none. Oh, okay, we got one.
Just a clarification, you outlined the change for the record in Daisy. Just so we got it clear.
I think we're just going back to the way the regulations.
Essentially, there would be no change.
No change.
No
change.
I just wanted to be clear. Thank you.
Okay, so the way the motion was originally stated, is that clear enough for everybody? Okay. No further comment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, the fishing regulation passes unanimously. Let's move on to Commission Regulation 0707 Amendment Number 8, Chief of Habitat Elmer Bull. Possible action, the Commission may adopt amendments to recommend changes to public hunting limited on wildlife management areas and designated state lands for key Pittman Management Area youth hunting days. Elmer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and fellow commission members. First of all, thank you for putting this on the agenda. I know it got on at a pretty late hour, but there was a situation that came to light over this regulation that was going to preclude youth hunters from using the key Pittman wildlife area during a hunt day in October. I appreciate you getting that on. The issue here, this regulation has read this way for many years, and it probably shouldn't have. It should have been fixed sometime previous. However, it's never really been an issue until this year. The reason for that being is that the youth waterfowl days have typically been at the end of the regular season, so it was never an issue. However, from a purely technical standpoint, it should have been noted in there. This year, however, when the commission approved the youth waterfowl days, instead of putting both the days at the end of the regular season, they split the days, and one of them ended up on an even numbered day in October. And looking at the regulations, it says during the waterfowl season, hunting is permitted on the opening weekend of the duck season, odd numbered days throughout the season, opening day of the goose season, and the closing 2 days of the waterfowl season. So, with that wording, the old wording with allowing hunting only on odd numbered days, it would have been a violation of law for youth hunters to hunt and keep them on that even numbered day. And that's the last thing we wanted to do, is to limit a youth hunter from being able to hunt on that nice area. So we're asking for that small amendment in there to just include the youth waterfowl days as legal hunt days there, no matter which day of the month they're on.
Any questions for Elmer? Okay, this is just continuing. We've been working with these hunt days, all these management areas down south, and so I think that we're closing in on getting it nailed down. So anyway, this is all good. Okay, I'll bring it back to the commission. Any other commission comments on this? Thanks, Elmer. Anybody have a problem with this one? It was pretty easy to make. Okay, well, let me go ahead and take it out to Capper public comment then, and see if anybody has any concerns with this thing. Okay, I don't. Was this on in time for the Clark County Cap to deal with? I don't think it was.
I don't remember if we.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
I don't remember if we spoke about that last time, but we would certainly be in favor of that.
Sure, yeah, okay. Okay, no Cabinet public comment, I'll bring it back to the commission. Anybody, Commissioner Wallace?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to approve CR 07-07, amendment number 8, as presented by the clerk.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the amendment to the regulation to keep Pittman. Anybody have any comments with regard to the motion? Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, amendment passes unanimously. Okay, we're going to keep moving. Is everybody all right? Okay, keep moving now. Now at agenda item number 15, first reading, Commission Policy 51, Commission Lifetime Commitment to Wildlife Award. Commissioners Robb and Drew for possible action. The Commission will have the first reading for proposed changes to Commission Policy number 51. The Commission shall consider whether to retain the Commission Lifetime Commitment to Wildlife Award as currently set forth in Policy 51, or to reinstate the Wayne E. Kirsch Nevada Wildlife Conservation Award of the former version of Policy 51, and that's the version that's dated August 8, 2003. The Commission may make changes to either version or may eliminate the Commission Lifetime Commitment to Wildlife Award in its entirety. The Commission may also take steps to create a new policy for either award. Before I turn it over to Commissioner Robb and Drew, Commissioner Robb and Drew, this was a very, very hotly contested issue, and it was probably the number one item requested for this agenda. And so, anyway, I'll turn it over to Mr. Robb. Okay.
Coming to Wildlife Commission meetings for the last 14 years and watching the individuals that received this award, I understand the honor that was given to these people, the amount of dedication it took, not only the year that they received the award, because that's what the award says is in that year, but the commitment they put in for a long period of time to get that award. I think some events of the past couple of years have taken away some of that. I want to restore that award to its former prestige, and I believe this is the first step in doing it. And this is something that when I was announced that I was back on the commission, this is something that came from multiple people on multiple county advisory boards as their first item that needed to be fixed. It's not a wildlife-related issue, it's an individual-related issue. For the individuals going to receive the award in the future, but it's important to a lot of people that we recognize the people work hard. So that's why I want it on the agenda and try to restore what it once was.
Commissioner Drew.
There's not a heck of a lot to say here other than I brought this up as a commission item because several of the cabs asked me to and several members of the public asked me to. In regards to some comments that were made yesterday by Commissioner Raines, who objects to the process by which we're looking at potentially amending or changing this policy, I think my statement to that is there's a big difference when this is something that is asked for by the cabs and unanimously supported by the cabs, rather than what's happened in the past where this board has made previous decisions that were directly in the face of and despite the cabs. So I just want to make sure that that's on record.
Commissioner May wants to talk now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to clarify one issue on this, and it's a question, and that is, I'm a little confused as to exactly what the process you're intending to take with this item, because clearly, as our policies have always been throughout the commission, This is the first reading. This again states the first reading for policy as our policy. So my question would be, is right now we're having a reading on this. We're going to have this come back. I would assume you would put it on our next agenda, and then at that point in time we'll be taking action. Today we're having the first reading, right? Is that where I'm at?
I know that our policy is, we have a policy on first and second readings, and I also know that our policies are not binding on us, and we can modify them if it's necessary in their service circumstance. We've done that in the past. So I'm not gonna say anything that binds. I want the commission to weigh in on this issue that you've raised. I want the camps to weigh in on the issue that's been raised. This is an incredibly important issue. I've actually been in contact with Marlene Kirch, and I know exactly what her wishes are, and so I am going to let the sportsmen. This is their issue. I'm going to let them and the commission make the decision however they want to, irrespective of how our policy reads.
Okay.
I guess that's where I'm.
Let me read our policy. First of all, I'd like to state, I know full well that if at, let's say, any prior meeting, our chairman or any one of you members, you would have been a member of this commission at our last meeting, and there was some issue and you disagree with, personally, and it was brought forward in violation of our policy, which reads, the commission will have a minimum of 2 readings of proposed policy in public meetings before the commission takes action to adopt, amend, repeal, or disapprove the policy, unless the policy is declared an emergency, in which case the commission may read, amend, and adopt the policy in one meeting. This has not been, and that is our policy, this has not been declared an emergency. If it was put on here that this was an emergency, then it would be within our policy. Every person at this table would have been extremely upset at that point in time. There's a lot of very good reasons, and I know not necessarily with this policy, but the next one that's coming up, I know that there are members of the public that are planning on attending that meeting, because that's one that's going to be decided to make this meeting today. And it would be excluded if this goes through in a more expedited than against the commission's policy fashion. It would be excluding them from the process. It would be excluding the public comment portion of them, and it would be, some sort of a violation of their rights to come. I've got, some of the committee members would like, specifically on the next items, their items are related in the manner in which they're brought forth. And so I would, very worried about that, in that, hey, I got no problem. You guys dislike it, and we'll talk about the substance of the issue here in a minute. But I'm just talking about the process. And if everybody was in agreement, I would just as soon get off the substance of how we're going to go about it and talk about the issue and then bring it up at the next meeting, and then you have a vote. Yeah, I can do the math as well as the next guy. All right? I can do the math as well as the next guy. I can count to 5. It's not too hard. But, all right? Hey, but we need to follow the process and then let this was declared an emergency. That'd be another thing. It's not an emergency. It is a reward. All right.
Okay, Chairman Robb. Vice Chairman Robb.
I would, I understand what Scott's saying, and I do appreciate following policy anytime we can. But looking at this, we accept nominations per policy 51, the August 8, 2003 version through November 15th. I want to give enough time to get proper public input to make sure this award goes forward properly. So I'd like to declare this an emergency so we can meet certain deadlines to get this going forward in a timely manner. I think it's important to the Cavs to make sure it's going right this following year. And so I'd like to declare it an emergency, get it heard, and get a motion on it today and have it decided today. So if we do change the policy, we can go forward and meet that November 15th deadline.
Okay. I guess we can make that as part of the motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Strong.
In no way does this constitute an emergency. No way.
Okay, well, the commission will weigh in on that issue, and then the commission will vote on whether it's an emergency and make that decision as part of the motion I just said. So, your position that it's not an emergency, is noted and will, I guess, be taken into account by all the commissioners. Yeah, and obviously, when we do discuss any motion that comes out of this, we can, that should be part of the discussion, whether the commissioners feel that is, is an emergency. We'll address that as part of the motion. Commissioner Howe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before there's a motion on whether this is an emergency or not, I think there should be some dialogue concerning why the Wayne Kirch Award was changed in the first place. Well, why that happened, how it happened, and what led up to that happening. There should be some dialogue there before we have a motion making it an emergency.
Certainly. Do you want to explain what happened?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
It started, actually, not last year, but the year before. And I was on the Kirch Award Committee. And I was sent a folder to vote on. I voted, and I sent it right back. I read all the candidates and evaluated them, and I voted. And then I was contacted by the NDOW representative and asked if I understood the process. And I said, yes, I understand the process. I said, there's going to be one winner to this award, is that correct? And he said, yes. And I said, well, I voted for the guy I wanted to win. It would seem natural to vote for the guy you want to win. And he told me at that time I was perfectly entitled to do that. And I guess because of the recipient of the award, which that year, there was some animosity. And the gentleman that was selected for the award, I had never met him. I don't think either one of the other commissioners had met him. He was worked for Wildlife Services in Trappist, mine Trappist. I think he deserved the award. So I voted. The award process is, for me, it's a little bit difficult anyway. There's 25 points for 4 different categories. So I could award 100 points to one guy. And that's exactly what I did. Didn't want anybody else to win the award. Wanted this guy to win the award. That was my feeling. Didn't tell anybody else how I voted. However, the gentleman that opened my ballot, I guess you call it, he informed other people how I voted, which I couldn't believe that. Some of the people hadn't even sent their ballots in yet, and he's in Dallas telling people who won. It didn't make any sense, or how I voted. Not who won, but how I voted. And anyway, the guy got the award. The following year, I voted the same way I did before. I found a guy that I wanted to win. It just so happened I knew him, and I've known him since I started high school. That's all. And I read a letter into the record when we gave him the award, stating the reasons why I thought he deserved the award. Well, obviously, and now, Ms. Kirch, who I talked to her once or twice, they didn't like the way the voting went. So, as it turned out, she actually voted the same way I did, only for a different way. In other words, the guy I voted for, she gave him 0 points. The point system is ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. But I think, being as it is a commission award, there should only be commissioners voting. I see no reason for NDOT to vote, especially if they're gonna broadcast how the votes are going. Does that make any sense that should happen? That NDOT would broadcast how the votes are going before everybody's voted? I think the vote should be, come to the chair, and you open the ballots and say, here's the winner. That's the way it should happen. And if you change it, which you're obviously going to do, change it back to the Kirch Award, that's fine. Wayne Kirch was a nice guy. I'm probably the only guy in this room that even knew the guy. Beg your pardon? Well, but it's a good chance just because I'm old enough. Anyway, I think if you make it back to the Kirch Award, that's fine. But the way the voting process is dead wrong. You can't have somebody from NDOW opening the voting and relaying that information to other people that are going to vote before they voted. That's dead wrong. You're an attorney, you know that. That's my position. They didn't like, a certain group doesn't like the last 2 winners, and so they want to change it back. Well, change it back to the Kirch Award is fine. I couldn't care less. The guy was a nice guy as far as, I only met him one time. But if you're going to do it, change the voting process. The chair should open and announce the winner at the commission meeting. It shouldn't be going out to the public before the chair announces who's winning. That's fine.
Commissioner Drew.
Since we're documenting the history, and this could go to any of the previous commissioners, but I would be curious to know who recommended the changes from the Kirch Award and how many cabs supported it.
Part of that.
Go ahead, Commissioner May.
All right, I think that's part of that, and then I'll go into the history a little bit. One of which is I do know that the specific recommendation to change the name actually came from Arlene Kirch. And it was interesting in the way that came about because it was in an email that she had, communication she had sent out to members of the commission. And in that email, it stated that she didn't like who was winning the award, and I've got a copy of the letter somewhere, but it's been submitted in public record. And at that meeting, one of the members of the judging panel held up his ballot and said, look, I have not even voted yet. And yet she is saying she doesn't like the result of how this voting is coming about, because and it was written in there that she already knew the results of the first couple people that had voted. And that was obviously communicated to her by staff, and it was stated as such that was what happened in her communication. So through that communication, it's been part of the public record, and it was on December a year ago's meeting, that's in the minutes. Commissioners, I haven't even voted. And at that point in time, the NDOW staff member who had opened the ballots had not even voted. I don't like who won, basically. So this is a bad process. Hey, if you're a judge and other people vote for somebody you don't like, it doesn't mean the process is bad. The only part of the process is bad that it was corrupted in that either the committee chairman or the chairman of the commission, at some form of a public meeting should be open on the ballots. Because that's corrupt, what was happening there. I mean, come on. You don't show people that are voting what the results are up to date. That is bad. And I mean, people talk about, oh, we don't like the way these people voted. Hey, the process was cleared up by this next award. This other award, main thing that's in it, was Wayne Kirch said, I don't want my name on that policy. And we had legal advice at that time that, hey, really, if a private person has any power or has power over a public award, then that public award should go away. It really should. No person, no private person, unless it's a one-judge situation, no private person should have power. And in this situation, I mean, to me, it was almost the spoiled kid. I can't get my winner. Hey, you didn't get your winner, which implied that all the other winners had got, the person had got their winner. Great. I can win and I can lose, and that's just fine as long as the process is fair. And I know it was interesting. I did hear from the different members at those group meetings that the one individual, none of it, they said the first year when they were really complaining about it, first, I hadn't even met him. But looking at the things, I mean, there's very impartial individuals. And, yeah, they got different points of view. If you're there, you might vote for it too. I don't know. I wasn't on the committee. I might have too. I wasn't on the committee. But looking at the different applicants, they made their choice for. Yeah, it's a and as the legal counsel, I believe, mentioned to me at one point, it's a beauty contest. I liked him because he had a prettier nose. I mean, it's not. How are you going to judge something? People were opposed to that because they didn't like the people, and that was wrong. That is what was wrong. Hey, if you want to go back to the Kirch Award, great. I got no problem with that. Actually, I didn't like it being changed away, but when we had Kirch, Marlene Kirch, requesting not to have it in their name, because, and basically the only reason stated in that communication was they didn't like the winner. Process bad because I'm not getting my winner. I don't like those three of the judges' decisions, and one of them hasn't even been cast yet. That is bad mojo. You know what I mean? And you want to talk about something that showed a corrupt of the system and gave NDOW a bad position and made the commission look bad. Hey, that's happened, and obviously it's been going on for many years, or apparently had. I don't know. I wasn't on the commission. Maybe Dave know more about it in the past than I would, as far as the process in the past. I don't. But hey, was this staff member opening the awards previously? This implied it, and it was there, and it was evident, and it was in before the results were ever released, before people were doing it. So I'll throw that out. So. But basically, that was the process, and that is why it was changed. As for the emergency thing, hey, you can change the dates on these things. We could have the chairman make an announcement. Hey, we'll do it a little bit later. You want to get your guy? Great. You can do them. We can go ahead. You can come up with something. As far as the deadline on it, just make a request. Or actually, it'd be just fine. Have the applicants come in. You wait a while on the judgment results. If that's your plain intention. Have a special meeting. You can have a telephonic meeting. If it's that much of an emergency that it has to be done that fast, have another telephonic meeting. The last one lasted a few minutes. And if it's that dreadfully important to you. But the main thing on that is we are excluding the public from the process, because the public is, and you keep on talking about it, you're excluding the public. Well, good. What's good for everybody is good for everybody. You're excluding them they know there's two readings. It's always been that way. I adhered to it. The last chairman adhered to it. Previous years, every year, Ms. Bentley adhered to it when I was here the first year. We adhered to that policy. As far as I know, it's adhered to that policy as far back as I can know. Maybe there was an exception back long before I knew about the process. And if there's been another exception, maybe Mr. McNish, he was there a few years before, maybe he'd know if there was other emergencies. This is a beauty contest, and you're worried about it being an emergency. What happens if we're talking about something that's vital to our industry? What about something about sage grouse? What about something about mule deer? Those things are more important to us. So, if we want to talk about it, if we want to talk about changes, that's, okay, specifically in the policy. 2003 version, bad version. If you want to have Wayne Kirch Award, make it look like the new policy, Mission Lifetime Commitment Wildlife Award, make it look like that. Specifically, you want to talk about the parts that I can't envision you would not like. I mean, I just can't get it. Is the judging criteria and the judging panel, and then the portions in there about that it will be open to public meeting. That's in there somewhere. But that is what has to happen. Otherwise, it's plain unfair, and it has the appearance of impropriety. The other one certainly did. I guess.